Well, what if I told you that the single biggest thing you could do to actually achieve your goals was to keep them a secret? I know it sounds totally backwards, right? But today, we're going to dive into the powerful science and, believe it or not, the ancient wisdom behind why you should probably stop talking about your plans. Okay, picture this. You've just had that light bulb moment, that amazing idea for a new project, a business, maybe a big personal goal. You're absolutely buzzing with excitement, and that very first instinct is to tell someone, right? To grab your phone and share the good news. Well, you might want to hold that thought, because as it turns out, a whole lot of psychological research, and even wisdom from centuries ago, suggests that this natural impulse to share your grand plan might just be the very thing that stops it from ever happening. Let's break down exactly why. So, first up, we need to understand what's actually going on inside our own heads. And look, this isn't about superstition or anything like that. It's about pure brain chemistry. There's this psychological trap that makes sharing our goals so dangerous. The whole thing boils down to this key concept called premature satisfaction. It's this weird little glitch in our brains where getting praise or recognition for something we plan to do feels almost as good to our brain as actually doing it. You basically trick your brain into thinking the hard work is already over. Yeah, this whole process is what we can call the dopamine trap. Think about it. Step 1, you announce your big plan. Step 2, your friend goes, "Wow, that's incredible, you're gonna crush it." And step 3, your brain releases dopamine, that feel-good chemical. But here's the trap. Step 4, that dopamine hit satisfies your brain's need for reward, and your actual motivation to do the hard, difficult work can just, poof, vanish.
And listen, this isn't just a cool theory. Multiple studies have actually confirmed this. When people publicly announce their intentions, their follow-through rates drop. A lot. You've essentially been paid up front in social currency, in likes and praise for a job you haven't even started.
Okay, so we've covered the internal threat, what's happening in our own minds. But the danger isn't just in our heads. We also have to protect our ideas from the outside world, especially when they're brand new and fragile.
I want you to think of your new idea like a tiny, fragile seed you've just planted. What does it need? It needs the right conditions, right? Quiet, focus, some nurturing, so it can grow strong roots. But when you expose that little seed to the world too early, you get what we can call energy noise. It's this storm of other people's opinions, their doubts, their advice, and it can easily just kill that little idea before it even has a chance to sprout.
And that energy noise, it usually comes from 3 types of people, even when they mean well. You've got the doubter, who instantly tells you that's impossible. Then there's the comparer, who says, "Oh, my friend tried that and failed," instantly putting all this pressure on you. And maybe the most dangerous, the envious, who asks these subtle questions like, "Are you sure you can handle that?" When your plan is just forming, even one of those comments can be enough to derail everything.
And beyond all that, there's a huge strategic problem with announcing things early. Let's be real. No plan ever goes exactly as planned. It's going to change, you're going to have to pivot and adapt, but if you've already announced version 1.0 to the whole world, you're now stuck. You feel this pressure to stick to that original idea, and you get those constant questions. "Hey, how's that thing you talked about going?" It completely kills your flexibility, which is probably the most important thing you need to actually succeed.
Now, of course, this doesn't mean you should become a total hermit and never talk to anyone. That's not the point. Secrecy is a tool, not a lifestyle. So the real question becomes, when is the right time to speak? And who are the right people to tell? So what's the magic number? Is there one? Well, it's not an exact science, obviously, but a really good rule of thumb is to wait until your project is about 60 to 70% complete. Why then? Because at that point, the foundation is solid, the roots are deep, the most difficult core work has already been done.
So, when do you get the green light to share? Well, you share when you need a true partner to collaborate with, not just a cheerleader. You share when you need real accountability from a mentor or a coach who's going to push you, not just praise you. And most importantly, you share when you have some initial, tangible results to show for your work. You share when the idea is no longer a fragile seed, but a sturdy young plant.
What's really fascinating to me is that this whole idea of strategic silence, it's not some new productivity hack from a business book. This is timeless wisdom. It's been passed down for centuries, and looking at it through that lens is, well, it's incredibly powerful.
In Taoist philosophy, for example, there's a proverb that says, "Success comes from secrecy." It's this beautiful idea that great work is done away from the public eye, in quiet focus where all your energy can be concentrated on the task instead of being scattered to the wind. And you see this same wisdom echoed in cultures all over the globe.
There's a Vietnamese folk proverb that's even more direct. The translation is basically, to speak of it is to fail. Or if you talk about it beforehand, you won't even make it past the first step. It's such a powerful warning about announcing things too early.
So after all of this, what's the big takeaway? It's actually incredibly simple. Instead of talking about what you are going to do, focus every ounce of that energy on actually doing it. Work in silence, and let the final, incredible, undeniable result be your announcement to the world.
This really is the path. So the next time you have that spark, that brilliant idea, resist that urge to tell everyone. Instead, think of yourself as a gardener. Quietly, you sow the seed, you nurture it in private, you wait for the roots to grow deep and strong, and only then, when the fruit is ripe and ready, do you invite others to come and see what you've grown. So let me leave you with a question. What are you quietly growing right now?